Welcome to the interview. I'm Dan Hollander. Today we're talking with Ryan Egly, Director of Economic Development for Lawrence County. Ryan, good to have you with us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for coming.
We're going to be talking about development for Lawrence County, and let's kind of fill that in. What exactly do you consider development, which may be different than somebody else?
Sure. So it kind of goes back to what's my job, and I'm still figuring that out myself, to be honest with you. The development in Lawrence County is many things. Traditional economic development is manufacturing, recruiting industry, job creation, if you will. We're seeing that kind of change as time goes on. It now includes tourism, it now includes retail, even workforce.
Mm-hmm. Do you see more changes in the future? Probably so.
I foresee a huge emphasis on the workforce component, and I'm telling you, our school system, they're prepared to handle that. Our partners at Columbia State, now Tennessee Tech, Martin Methodist, and then our local Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology, they've all stepped up. The state of Tennessee has stepped up. Our local organizations across the communities have stepped up. You look at Rotary, Kiwanis, others giving money towards new college efforts. So that's really our focus right now. But also, again, traditional economic development is manufacturing, and part of that is site development, and that is also one of our focuses too. Where's the next plant going to land? Where's the next spot?
Yeah, and you try to look ahead at that, don't you?
Absolutely. We can't just focus on the next 3 years. We have to be looking 10, 20, 50 years out if we want to grow sustainably.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll get to you, won't it?
It sure will. It sure will.
Well, you've been looking at increasing the number and the quality of jobs, and that's pretty much what you just described. So let's move on to something else. Although residents may not be aware of this, there are many positive activities and pluses for Lawrence County, which they may not know. It exists, but some people are not aware of it. How about that?
Sure. So there's no better time than now to live, work, just experience life in Lawrence County, Tennessee. We're seeing population growth, about 3% annually. A cool fact to know, since 2010 to 2017, we've grown about 5,000 people throughout the county. The last 2 years, 70% of those people have moved into the county. And so, people are finding that the low cost of living, the close-knit community atmosphere, the amenities of the community, and the proximity to large metro areas, Nashville, Huntsville, even the Shoals to a degree, all those come in and make it a great place to live. I know that's kind of cliche. Everyone says it's a great place to live, but I like to say we have the best place to live. There's nowhere better than Lawrence County, Tennessee to live. Now, to work, we are seeing some wage growth across all industries, whether it's healthcare, manufacturing, agriculture. With unemployment being so low, that is, of course, I mentioned the workforce component of our pitches to various companies being a prime concern to them. Part of that is wage growth. Now, what that means is more opportunity for people. So when you look at Lawrenceburg specifically, there are about 16,000 people in the labor force. 9,000 people leave the county every day for work from that area. And so traditionally,
you want to draw those people back here.
I want to draw them back. That's exactly right. There are three things we look at with workforce development, and that's also goes back to all the great things about Lawrence County. The three things we look at: quality of life pieces, which I'll kind of touch on with tourism, events and festivals, again, and that close-knit community feel. Also, you have to look at workforce development traditionally, and again, I kind of mentioned that with your TCATs, our school system, our post-secondary partners at Columbia State, Tennessee Tech, Martin Methodist. And the third component of that, again, is the available jobs in local manufacturing, existing industry, and we're just really blessed to be hitting full stride on all of those.
So the benefits right now outweigh the minuses.
Absolutely, hands down. That I can't think of any reason. It's the reason I live here, right? If I wanted to live somewhere else, if I thought Lawrence County's not good, I would have moved somewhere else. But it's the best.
Yeah, I understand. Are the differences in the way that Lawrence County and other larger cities attempt to secure new industries and jobs?
Sure.
I would imagine there are differences.
There are. We face an interesting challenge, really twofold. Our proximity to the interstate. 65 has always been an issue for us, especially as we receive those requests for information from companies. Now, that's number one. Then, of course, broadband internet access, which you see the TVA and the state of Tennessee are stepping up to show how can we deploy broadband in rural areas. So, and we are a rural community. We're not a large metro center. However, we are a micropolitan center for commerce, whether it's retail or manufacturing. In fact, for the last 2 years, we've been a top 100 micropolitan in the nation, and that's something we're trying to scream from the rooftops, because that's a very high designation. With that said, our strength here is our relationships, not just with the state of Tennessee Economic Development or Tennessee Valley Authority Economic Development, but also within our internal boundaries. We have such a good partnership with Lawrenceburg Utility Systems and Lawrence County School System that, in fact, 2 weeks ago, Johnny McDaniel, Director of Schools, Shannon Watson, the Career and Technical Education Director for Lawrence County Schools, and then Vic Pusser, the General Manager of Lawrenceburg Utility Systems, and then, of course, myself and Ethan Hadley, we went to TVA and we presented on our workforce, our quality of life, and our livability. At the end of the presentation, basically all the TVA target market specialists and consultants in the room, they said, y'all can just drop the mic and leave. You guys have it going on. And so when you look at that, it's those relationships that we build by participating in such presentations that give us that really good rapport with them. And so when they get a project in, let's say it's a foreign company looking to invest millions of dollars and create a few hundred jobs, well, we're at top of mind. They say, oh, what about Lawrence County? They should submit on this. Whereas historically, the interstate proximity has kept us from that. And so maintaining those relationships is vital.
Yeah. Differences in the way that Lawrence County and other larger cities attempt to secure industries? Do you approach it differently?
Again, we have to. We can't be someone we're not. So, for example, Nashville.
You can't be a Nashville.
We can't be a Nashville. We can't be a Huntsville. But what we can be is we can be team players with them. So if a company says, hey, we have a customer in Nashville, give us a 90-minute drive time, we want to locate there. You see a lot of success in Murray counties, Lincoln County, Giles County, Marshall County, because they have that direct access with 65. Again, our approach is different because we don't have that. And we always have to put that benefit of, listen, cost of living's lower, and truly, Highway 43, Highway 64, they're interstate quality, 4-lane divided limited access. So yes, there is a different approach, but it's also project specific. We have a lot of customers or clients that come in and they need a lot of power. They also need a lot of water, a lot of sewer. Well, that's one thing that even Nashville doesn't have, or surrounding counties. We have a united utility system that has electricity, gas, water, and sewer. That alone is a differential for us.
Hard to get by without any of those.
Exactly. Other communities, those are their own departments. We have one point of contact with Lawrenceburg Utility Systems, and they work so well with like Loretto, Leoma, other utility districts throughout the county. So it's that partnership, again, the internal partnership is there, and that enables us to have that different approach.
Okay. You touched on this, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Some major areas that potential new businesses are highly interested in and concerned about. Maybe three, something like that.
It's actually funny. I asked that question to a site selection consultant last week. I said, what are the top 3 things that are driving projects today? And she said, workforce, workforce, workforce. Then, of course, I said to her, I need something more than that. We all understand that. And she said, site inventory and site development. So what that means is, do you have a piece of land? Do you have an existing building? Are you marketing it appropriately? Number 2, of course, I let her have workforce in there just because it is such a vital piece of information. And the third thing that she said was logistics. And what that means is every project that comes in, it's a business decision. And they have a customer, whether it's the entire United States market. For example, like the Toyota Mazda announcement in Huntsville, they saw the advantages of being on the East Coast because they're so close to the customer base, right? Or if it's an automotive supplier, like a Dura or a Modine, their proximity to their customers, whether it's Mercedes or GM or Nissan, makes a difference. Well, the logistical advantage of our sites, for example, we have 4-lane divided access, or 4-lane limited access, divided highway access north, south, east, and west. right? So that gives us quick access to large OEMs, whether they're automotive, maybe the LG plant, new LG plant in Clarksville, maybe North American Lighting in Florence. So logistical advantage. Now, one thing you might not know is there are 94 distribution and logistic companies within 45 minutes of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. There's a reason for that. It's because we are quick to these places, and that's an advantage that we have. But those are the top three things: logistics, workforce, and site inventory.
Good. And we got them.
We have it all. That's exactly right.
I know you've heard this question before, but you never know who you're talking to when you meet a stranger. Mm-hmm. And what you say could be vitally important. Mm-hmm. I think most people don't think about that.
Yep.
Tell us.
So we have to always maintain a positive attitude about Lawrence County. And to be honest, there's never been a better political climate in Lawrence County. Our team works so well together, from the county to the cities to the local economic development organization, across the board. Part of that is because we've all agreed that we've got to stop. If we hear someone saying something negative about Lawrence County, in a group of friends, for example, just say, hey, why are you saying that? There's no reason for that. We do have a good community. Now, let's say I'm at McDonald's. I'm picking up my coffee and my breakfast burrito, and there's a stranger behind me. Well, if I hear someone talking about, oh, gracious, such and such, this is bad about Lawrence County, and this person behind me, he may be a billionaire looking to put the next large plant in the state of Tennessee, right here in Lawrence County. And if he hears someone talking about that, you may have just blown our chances, because the community morale doesn't reflect the message that we have as a county, city, and economic development organization. Mm-hmm. So it is vitally important to be cognizant of who's around you, and then of course be friendly. It's just the decent thing to do. Introduce yourself, be welcoming, and again, that's the community that we are. But it is good to be mindful of there are strangers out there. We are growing, so we have to leave them with a good impression.
Yeah, you never know who's there.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
These people are pretty slick, aren't they?
They are. In fact, there are companies that come and look. They come look here, and then they engage the state of Tennessee. So we don't know they exist until the state gets involved, or they call us directly, which is happening more and more. But they've been here 3 or 4 times before they even pick up the phone to give us a call. So
yeah. It would be bad to be the person who said something negative about Lawrence County, and that broke the deal.
You're exactly right, and some consolation.
You may not know that you did.
You may not know exactly. The consolation is you may not know you did it, but that's still a factor. So
yeah. In closing, name 2 or 3 of the things that people ought to keep in mind about growth and industry, mm-hmm. and securing new industry. Mm-hmm. How can a person on the street do that?
Person on the street do that. One, I'll give you 2. Hospitality is number 1, and your work ethic. When I say hospitality, I'm talking about the charm that makes us Lawrenceburg or Lawrence County. The ability to go up and shake a stranger's hand and say hello, be friendly, and talk positively about our community. That's number 1. So everyday guy on the street, you can do that. It makes a big difference. Number 2 is work ethic. There is no reason in the state of Tennessee right now that you should not be able to find a job if you want a job. If you don't have the adequate training for that job, there are programs, the Tennessee Promise, the Tennessee Reconnect. We capitalized on the Tennessee LEAP program, that's the Labor Education Alignment Program, to build it's an instructional service center for industrial maintenance technologies. TCAT Hohenwald is doing that. Enrollment has doubled in less than a year there, because people are understanding that, oh, hey, I can get an industrial maintenance degree and I can go to work and make good money. So be willing to work, and not just in industry, but for the community. There are so many volunteer opportunities out there, whether it's cleaning up a neighborhood or volunteering at Abigail's Plan. All of those things, the hospitality, the work ethic, come together to create a very sellable community. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to know what you can do day to day, those are the 2 things you can look at.
The more sellable you are, the better off you are.
That's exactly right. That's
okay.
Exactly right.
If people want some more information, how can they get in touch with you? Or suggestions or whatever?
Well, absolutely. Well, we're open here at the Chamber of Commerce 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. We always encourage people to email us with any questions. We like people to email info, that's INFO, at lawcotn.com. That way it gets filtered out. Maybe it's a tourism question about an upcoming event. We can send it to Rachel Grigsby, our Director of Tourism. Maybe you're looking for some storefront downtown Lawrenceburg or in other parts of the county. They can filter that and send it to me. Now, I always invite people to send me emails, whether about anything, because I'm always willing to talk with people about what's going on in Lawrence County. So my email address is Ryan, that's RYAN, at lawcotn.com. Happy to discuss anything and point anyone in any directions, give any advice that we have. We're busy, so we'll get back to you eventually, but we're pretty responsive, and that's also a key to our success.
Yes, that's right. Ryan, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
A lot of information there. Ryan Egly, Director of Economic Development. If you have more questions or information, Ryan will be right there on the phone.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks. That's the interview for today. Thank you.